We're Group Trace. I'm Brad Conley. This is Chad Ross and Tanner Rodas. I'd like to thank our client Powell for giving us some inspiration in the project. A lot of encouragement and some advice along the way. The name of our project is Clouduino. The idea that we had to start off with was home automation. Thought this would be a good thing to try to pursue. So, three things we wanted to accomplish. First was the home automation portion of it. So we want to be able to control devices in a house. Maybe some reasons behind that would be you could possibly, there's power saving, there's security aspects of being able to control things like lights. Also forgetfulness. Some people may forget, like if I forget to leave a light on, I'm going to use that example for now. So it'll give you peace of mind. So if you can know what's going on in your house without you physically being there, that's just a peace of mind. Cloud service, we wanted to make it web-based so that there's no software to manage, to install, nothing to worry about for the user level there. And also give you the ability to control the devices from anywhere that you have internet access. The last thing was we wanted it to be flexible. So what you'll see is we wanted to be able to control devices, anything that you could buy from the store that has an API, we wanted to be able to work with our system. Another thing we wanted to do was to be able to control something that maybe you just wouldn't even think of. There would be maybe not even be a reason to control this, but we want to be able to control it. So we're going to discuss some custom-made hardware and how we went about doing that.
This is the first bit of hardware that we started with. Is the Clouduino Plus. It's reasonably cheap. It's only about I think it's 55, 60 bucks or so. It's got Atmel 32-bit microprocessor with a 48 megahertz ARM. It's a microcontroller with the ARM 7 processor. You program it in .NET, so it's pretty easy to use the micro framework. With the Ethernet, with the Clouduino Plus, it's kind of limited with some of the storage capacity. It only has 64 kilobytes of storage on about 28 or so RAM. These are the XPs, which we're using to pretty much give ourselves some wireless capability. They're pretty robust. You can program them to do one-to-one, many-to-many. You can use them in direct link mode to where whatever happens on one is reflected onto the other. This is pretty much our controller that we're using to pretty much control our devices, whether they're physically connected or connected via XP.
One of the things Tanner mentioned with the XPs supporting Zigbee. Zigbee is a protocol. It's kind of like similar to Z-Wave, which is pretty popular. A lot of people have those kind of systems. We picked it because it realistically reflected home automation gear you could buy. You can go buy a wireless deadbolt system that uses Zigbee protocol. So we're actually using something. We're not just getting some little thing. We're kind of just rigging and hardwiring to work one off. It's something that's actually used in the industry, that kind of stuff. And like Brad mentioned, custom hardware, and you'll see some of this stuff a little later. But this is just some more stuff. We had to design and build a really micro power supply and some logic controls to wedge in to a device. And so we ended up, the project, as Brad mentioned, kind of started off and we got some feedback. We were kind of more focused on like the web portal or the web app first, but then when we started getting into the hardware, we really kind of started having a lot of fun with it. So we kind of ended up shifting the focus more to build some custom hardware and doing some stuff. This is just kind of an overview, kind of what gave us some inspiration. This idea called Web of Things, where it's basically just, every device has an IP, every device on the internet. You see these, videos with the, the fridge is connected to the internet, that kind of stuff. And as Brad mentioned too, that it has to have, a REST API, an API over just an HTTP simple API, get, put, post requests, that kind of stuff. So any device that kind of adheres to that, we wanted to be able to map to our application.
Some of the pretty much all the technologies we used. HTML5, jQuery, PHP's handle a lot of the server-side communication. The .NET framework, CodeIgniter was a good tool to use with Data Mapper for the framework, and always some jQuery. So we'll move on to the demo now. So here's our welcome page, trying to be clever with the whole Clouduino, the cloud, the Netduino board, throw that together. So here's our cloud, we're floating, our house is floating in the cloud. So we'll sign in, nice and easy. One of the things we really wanted to had in mind was, even though POW is very technically savvy as our client, we wanted to make it real user-friendly. Something that if the average Joe is looking to control their stuff, we just want it to be really easy for them to use. So the thought was we'll come straight to the dashboard here, we'll call it, and this will give you an overview. The idea here is that this would be every room in your house. So we've got 6 rooms here, just demonstrated there. So let's say, okay, we want to do something in the garage. So we'll go into the garage and see what's going on there. So we see we've got 2 options of devices in the garage. We have a door controller, and we also have a garage cam. So maybe we want to stream, we want to actually see what's happening in the garage. So let's activate the camera there so we can see what's happening live. One network. So what you'll see, this is now, we went from a still frame to this is a live feed at Chad's parents' house with a camera here in Hammond. So the idea here, we talked about security and peace of mind. Well, maybe they forgot to close, if they closed the garage door before they left to go out of town or even just to work. Well, you pop on here, you can see, well, it's closed. The door controller, you can see the status is closed. So if the camera, if you didn't want to go through the camera portion of it, you can see that the status is closed. So just for a demonstration, let's maybe open the garage door. We want to let the cat out. So he'll actuate the door controller, and we'll watch. Just a second. There we go. It's a little sluggish. So what we're relying on here, there it goes. Okay.
Yeah, the stream. That site has pretty bad upload, so the stream lags by a second or two sometimes.
So we're basically gambling on Southeastern's network as well as Charter at his parents' house. So, all right, so far so good. So now it's open, and we can go ahead and close it. With it being dark, the camera that we're using was fairly inexpensive. It's actually like a pet cam, but it solved our needs as having a REST API. So the frame rate. It is adjustable, but with the lighting, we've got all the lights on in the garage to try to get it moving as fast as possible, but it being dark outside, it's going to be a little slow. So we'll go ahead and you can leave it open for now.
And update status.
The what?
The status.
Oh, sure. So it still shows it's closed, but now you can see it's open. So we're actually have another device as part of the door controller. It's magnetic strips like you would see on most garage doors openers, door openers, to be able to see if it's open or closed there. So we're actively getting the status based on that, and not just whether the actual button was clicked or not. Let's go back to the rooms. We can look at all the. Yeah, you can close it before we go. Okay, so that was kind of our initial idea when we thought of this home automation. What would be a good physical demonstration? We thought, the garage door, it's off-site, so we're doing something a little different there. Our original thought was to just have a camera, just separate from our program, just a webcam where you could see it happening. So Pal came with this idea, so well, why don't you make the camera device integrated into the program, and now we can control that, and you can see it as part of the software. So that was a great idea by Pal there, inspiration. Let's go maybe to the kitchen. Okay, so when we first came to Pal with this, we said, try to look for some more ideas. What would you want us to be able to control, from home? You travel travel a lot. So the first thing he said was, I need to be able to feed my fish. So we thought, well, that's important, but I'm not sure how we're going to really physically, be able to do that. So the next thing he said was, I would like to be able to have my rice ready when I get home, right? When I have a pot of rice.
I'm hungry.
He's hungry.
He's always hungry.
He's always hungry. So has anybody ever seen, a wireless rice cooker or anything? If you have, okay, nobody has, but we hadn't either. So we thought, let's give it a shot. So let's go ahead and turn on the rice cooker. So the idea here, Pal, would be that he's getting ready to leave work. He knows he's got about a 15-20 minute drive. He's going to go ahead and click on his rice cooker at home. There we go. So now, you probably feel like some white rice tonight, Pal?
Yeah.
White rice, okay. So we'll go ahead and start cooking some white rice. Okay, so it's off and running. So we might see some steam in a minute. So this is where the custom hardware portion that we talked about in the PowerPoint really is coming into play. We had to build the microcontroller that Chad talked about, and that is all on board here with the XB. So our communication hub is over there by the symposium, Tanner's holding. So we've got an XB there and an XB here. So the idea would be in your house, maybe obviously in your kitchen here, you have the one hub. So now you'd be able to control, in this instance, the rice cooker and anything else in the room with an XB in it. Let's go back to the rooms just for a second, and we'll just show one more thing. One other thing is maybe, so the garage is now the live cam, so if you wanted it to be a little bit bigger, nothing's happening right now, but you can go ahead and enlarge any of the rooms. If you have any of the rooms, you'll see it there. And then we can scroll based on that. Let's go to the devices now. All right, so here you can see, you would be able to see all the devices listed in your house. You can get to these individually through each room, but if you wanted to just have an overview of everything going on, you can come here and you'd be able to see all of them. From here, anybody want to add anything? Yeah, you can refresh the door status there. You'll see that it's back to closed again, as it shows. You see up at the top at a navigation bar, there's a tasks button, and Chad might get mad at me, but this was one avenue that we were trying to go down. We wound up having to kind of pull the plug on it last minute, but you want to just show them kind of the idea of the UI there, that it's a step through. So the idea would be you can have notifications, task to be a notification coming to you, or you actually scheduling one of the devices for something to happen to one of the devices. So you could get a message when, I don't know, if the garage door opens, if you're at home and you know nobody should be there, so for the safety aspect of that there. Or you could schedule the door to open. This would also be handy if you wanted to come home to the lights on at night. If someone, maybe a female or anybody lived alone at home, instead of having to leave the lights on all day when you're being gone, just schedule them to come on 15, 20 minutes before you get home, 5 minutes before you get home, or just turn them on when you leave. So that's the bulk of it. You want to add anything? More questions? Let's take some questions. Over here. Thank you.
You're
Really appreciate it. Thank you, networks.
Y'all modified the price of the rank?
We did.
Flyer you had from the picture?
Okay, well, when we started on this road, we didn't think about doing anything wireless. So what you would have seen were about 4 or 5, I guess 8 wires or so, kind of dangling out of this thing, looking like a monster. So then, I guess it was Chad at one of the meetings said, "Hey, let's make it wireless." So we thought, okay, that's an extra dimension to it. So yeah, the little board, the little microcontroller that you saw with the green and red wires, that's in the rice cooker.
Did you say that board, the hardware board, was that Arduino? NetDuino? Did y'all choose Net for this project, or were there choices with that? Because I think there's an Arduino that works on the Linux.
Right.
So that's what I'm
I think we specifically chose it for .NET.
Yeah, we chose
Yeah,
it.
okay. All right, thanks.
Sure.
I do have a question. Why did y'all decide to go with the NetDuino and .NET framework for the micro device, but then did PHP and MySQL for the web control?
Okay. Well, the NetDuino we chose for familiarity with .NET. And looking into it, the board price was a factor also. Like Tanner mentioned, the NetDuino board was $60 or so, $50 if you get it on Amazon. If you try to order it from China, you save what, $5, but then we're still waiting on that board. So, right. So that was the issue there. PHP. Chad has a lot of experience with PHP. It was real familiar to him, and that was the main reason. Just personal choice.
To add to that too, kind of the flip side of the coin too with the NetDuino and the Arduino is a lot of the Ethernet setups for the Arduino boards. The software is nothing like compared to the .NET micro framework. I mean, you have to do ARP resolution manually yourself with methods. I mean, everything. Versus all the classes you get with .NET. So just the rapid development.
You can also use, what I found very useful was the debugger within Visual Studios for debugging the code that was on the boards.
That's why I've asked about Linux, because Linux is probably just as robust as .NET in that format.
Right. Questions? Sure.
What particular challenges did you find in the .NET micro framework versus the full framework?
Well, Tanner handled a lot of the .NET framework on the boards.
Yeah, I think they only use it for the micro, correct? One of the challenges that we did come across is that there are some limitations. One thing we have very basic security features built in, so you can't just send random requests. You actually have to know some of the security keys. But the micro framework, or the boards rather, don't support the micro framework cryptography classes yet. That was one.
Does that kind of answer your question?
Well, that brings up a question on the safe photography. I was wondering, how secure is it? I don't want anybody to open my garage door when I'm at school. You know what I'm saying? Like, they could pop on a net, open up my garage door, take all my stuff. I don't even know because I didn't turn my camera on and stuff.
Right. Basically, the best we can do right now is just pre-shared key, secret key, authentication, and everything. We have everything over SSL end-to-end. And the site is SSL. We force SSL everywhere if you try to go non-SSL before you even get to a web page. The server, directs you back to SSL. But like Tanner said, that was something we actually put a lot of time into thinking about. Now for the wireless, the XPs actually support AES encryption, so they're encrypted. That's just a limitation of this particular prototype board.
Can I ask one more?
So your wireless communications are encrypted?
Yes, the XPs have native AES encryption.
We're getting to wrap it up. Maybe one more? Sure.
So in the cook, do you have in the rice cooker, do you have Arduino and the XP, or is only the XP that is handling all the communication?
It's the XP and the custom.
Yeah.
circuitry.
Yeah, we have that board we showed is just kind of a custom support board we had to make. We had a little extra supporting logic and power supplies and everything because we wanted to keep the two, electrically separate, even though it's, in there.
So you don't have another microcontroller in the
Yeah,
rice
that's
cooker
Right,
beyond
just the
it?
XP. The XP has some real basic capability, which was enough for that. So.
Thank you all.